Hello, fellow YouTubers. Trouble8385 here. YouTube gaming community number 83. I'm not going to get into details why it took so long to get this video out. I just basically said, like everybody, at times in life, things get really busy, and so a lot of things going on in personal life that made me real busy, and so that's why the video is not to now. But starting Monday, the videos are going to be back on the regular schedule. One of the main reasons why is tomorrow, my wife, building up this week, my son had his first play date at home with a bunch of kids. But on Friday, my wife, all week, she's been going through everything we have. This woman and I are going to have this big garage sale. She's going to be there all day tomorrow, be there early in the morning. She's going to be gone all day. And so it'll be me and my son, and tomorrow morning we're going to go out garage sailing. Of course, for video games or maybe cool toys. You never know. He always ends up with something at every garage sale. I don't know how that works out. But anyway, and then I'm going to come home and play some games and work on some videos and basically be on YouTube looking at videos for the next show. So tomorrow I'll be super easy to answer your comments and answer your messages because I'll be on YouTube more or less all day. And Twittering to death and Facebooking to death, boring everybody to death, but that's what I'll be doing tomorrow. And so, unless you're underneath the rock, E3 happened this last week. And I was lucky enough on that Tuesday, which I should have made this, was both stupid things happen. I was lucky enough to get off work and get home in time to watch the unveiling of Nintendo's new system, which I'll get to Nintendo last. Well, I was glad I got to watch it when it happened. The other two press conferences, I actually watched due to work and other stuff. Right after they ended, I actually watched them through the thank goodness of live streaming. You can instantly rewatch it again, so I watched both Microsoft and Sony. I still have to watch Konami and other press conferences. I haven't seen those yet. But I'll start with Microsoft. Microsoft and this is saying I'll give Sony, they need to hire somebody who can actually, I don't know, not bore me half to death when he's on stage. I hate when they put these CEOs and these people in front of the company on stage and they're boring. Really, really boring. Now, Microsoft as a whole didn't show me anything new. A lot of the stuff they showed this year was stuff that was announced last year. The only two games was, of course, the Disneyland game, which looked really cool to me, to be honest with you. But I kept sitting there the whole time, to be honest with you. I kept thinking, for some reason in my mind, it kept making me connect my mind to Disney's Adventure in the Magic Kingdom. I don't know why. It just did. And I thought the Disneyland game was really cool. I was watching my son having to walk up at that point. He thought that was cool. Because he loves Disney, of course. They got every kid Disney. And the only other thing they showed new was Halo 4. And 2 hours after, Tuesday after Nintendo's press conference and all that was over, around 2 hours, Jason Heine on Jason Heine Radio's, or EMU Review as you might know him on YouTube, the Jason Heine Radio channel on Justin TV where he streams live on, he decided to do a thing where he gave out his Skype name for that channel and people could add him as a contact, and he was talking about E3 and people could call him. They would talk kind of like a radio show where you call in and they talk about E3 and you can see people commenting, and there's some of the comments I saw there. I talked to people I know after everything was over with Wednesday was on Halo's 4 was because this was a different team, they were so worried about it. Even though 343 Studios has worked with Bungie on the last two Halo games. Even though the writer who's wrote every Halo from the beginning, everything to do with Halo, went to 343 Studios, and some of the Bungie people did because that's how much they love the series. The series is going to be fine. I think that they'll be perfectly fine with all the people, and Microsoft's not going to let them ruin it. The only thing they have to get basically right is the multiplayer, right? Because I'm trying to describe the multiplayer not to seem really bad, but it's kind of like multiplayer for dummies. It's really easy. Like I got on Halo 3, I decided, I don't know, I got a kick for Halo 3. I finally played my 10th online match to get the achievement on that game, actually, funny enough. And it just was so easy to play the multiplayer in that game. I don't want to call it dummies like people are stupid, but it was so easy to play it, where I could get 10 kills and not even doing very good in the game. As long as they get that alright, Halo will be fine. And a lot of it was Kinect. The coolest thing, one of the cool things for me in the Microsoft press conference was Ghost Recon, where you could use Kinect to pull the gun completely apart, and you could change out any part in the gun, so you'd be customizing it to you, the way you like your gun, and put it all back together, and you could play that way. And Mass Effect 3 was cool at Kinect, where you could voice command your other people on your team while you're fighting somebody, the third-person shooter aspects of the game. Or you could voice the options, what two speaking parts in the game. I thought that was really cool. And some people ripping on that, saying that's not for me. I don't see how that adds to the game. Well, no, in some respects, it isn't for you. One of the biggest advantages of Kinect that some people, I don't think, realize, it's for the people who are physically impaired in some way, that they can't play with a controller, that would allow them to play a game without having to use a controller. That's the great advantage to me with Kinect. Outside the fact, in the future, maybe one of the cool things I could see with Kinect, the technology of Kinect, not necessarily Kinect itself, down the road, was you could have a gun in your hand, most go with a screen, and giving, if you're playing your computer game, obviously now with friends, you can be giving commands to your squad mates while doing a shooter, or in a sports game, you could call out the plays that you want to do. If you want to role play in the game, it's really great for people who want to do that. It's a choice, you don't have to. But that was, overall, Microsoft was kind of the most boring to me. It wasn't that much exciting stuff I seen last year. Though Tomb Raider was cool, seeing that's more survival, even though I've never really gotten to Tomb Raider that much, and I probably won't get that one. The survival aspect was really cool, how they focused in the new one on that. So we're going to get to Sony now. Now, Sony was the second best as far as I'm concerned. They were really close to Nintendo with a lot of stuff. They showed a lot of stuff. They showed a lot of different stuff. I was kind of surprised Crytek's Medieval Times and stuff. But again, Sony had a problem. Their CEO just bored me. My wife and me watched their press conference together, and she fell asleep halfway through. And when I woke her up, she said, "Let me know when it's not a shooter or a sport game, and I'll be interested." But it was cool. Sony showed, a little teaser of the next Sly Cooper. Medieval Times, different games than shooters and stuff. I like that Sony still, is not afraid to do different things. One of the biggest credits I give Sony, they tried it out of the three, they'll try to do different things in their game, different game types they have to show you, not just one genre or a certain type of game like Nintendo and Microsoft seem to do. I was kind of disappointed they didn't show Twisted Metal, because that's the one game I'm really excited for. A game that's been, one of their franchises since the PS1 days. I thought would get another show, but it didn't. Resistance 3, by the way, was the worst showing game to me of all the live demos of E3. Me and my wife were watching it. My wife said, "I have no clue what's going on." And that was my thing when I watched that demo. It's like, if you show me a demo of your game, and I'm somebody, your possible person who's never played it, who might buy the third game, I got to understand what's going on. And that's where Resistance 3 almost seemed like a throw-in. It was so short how they played the demo and then it was over. Sony showed their TV, which is cool if you want that. I'm not going to buy it, but it's cool. And it's kind of weird because all three companies are going in three different directions with their systems, and that's really cool to me. Like, Microsoft is going the whole Kinect motion voice thing, which is cool in their way. Sony's going clearly 3D all the way. So I was wondering in their next system, because I know Microsoft's going to go more Kinect kind of stuff in their next system, is Sony going to do 3D glasses that run through the system? Because not enough people would have TVs to do that. If they did that, I think that'd be really cool. And Nintendo, to me, after seeing the Wii U, to be honest with you, it's almost like their future would be, here's the home console base. Our future handhelds are going to work with the home console, where you could play those games, and then you could switch to your home console when you're done, and then you could plug the game in for the handheld if you want to play the other game. That seems to me where Nintendo's going, with some kind of hybrid between their handhelds working in conjunction with their home system. And then Sony got to the PS Vita, again, just like Nintendo, just a horrible name for their system. And while it graphically is powerful, don't get me wrong, and that, I don't know how innovative it was. their new system. They are on the right track compared to the PSP, don't get me wrong. I just don't know if Sony can bring people back to the handheld. I hope they can. I mean, they have some great games they showed. I just hope they understand a handheld experience and the home system are two different things. If you give me the home console experience on the handheld, I don't know if I'm looking for that on the handheld. That's what I have the home console for. But the Vita looks interesting enough. We'll see what more they show on it. Like, they weren't, to me, they were kind of vague on how you're getting your games. Were they downloadable? Were the SD card? I know they said there's an SD card slot. And then the one I was most excited for was Nintendo, like a lot of people were. Nintendo will start off real heavy on the 3DS. You know, Luigi's Mansion 2, Mario Kart 3DS, you know, Super Mario, you know. Nintendo, for me, you know, because I've played the first NES and played all of them until the N64, and I didn't play the GameCube because I didn't like the disc format stuff. For some reason with this system, Nintendo is back for me in this new system. Whereas the Wii, they weren't. The Wii, I have it. I've played every couple months for a little bit, and then I don't touch it for a couple of months. This system's got me excited that I'll actually really be all in for Nintendo this time with the new system. The way the controller, and I think this is a big thing that so many people are overlooking, is the fact that you play on the screen and then you can switch it to your controller and play on the controller and let people watch TV. You don't know how many times in my house I've had to stop playing a game when I'm doing really good because somebody in the house wants to watch TV. I think that's a really thing a lot of people don't understand. Now, obviously, Nintendo clearly did not want to show the system yet. Clearly, stuff leaked out, and Nintendo decided, since there was all this momentum, they were going to roll with it, and then at E3 they were going to show you the controller, which obviously they had done. Now, traditionally, the Tokyo Game Show is where they show more stuff, so I'm expecting in the Tokyo Game Show, Nintendo's actually going to show you what the actual console itself looks like. I don't know if they're going to show any games. Maybe they'll show trailers or two. I know they said, basically announced what, Pikmin 3, obviously Super Smash Brothers, obviously the Zelda, obviously Mario, obviously. I know Darksiders 2's been announced for it, and 2 other games THQ said. And obviously, you know, what was really cool to see was Nintendo show the trailers that, like, Ninja Gaiden 3, you know, and just that whole demo of other publishers besides themselves with the new system. Now, the Wii U itself is just a dumb name. I don't know. I understand they picked the Wii because they're going to try to bring the people who first got on with Nintendo with the Wii to follow the new system, and it's a brand with people, so they're going to go with it. I just was thinking Wii U, what'd they do? They say Wii 2. No. What rhymes with 2? U. Wii U. It would have been better to do what Jilpoo 3 said, just call it Super Wii. At least then they could have harked back to saying, hey, we're harking back to the Super Nintendo in our past. That would have been a little bit cooler. But I'm excited for Nintendo's new system, what it could do. It interests me to further find out what they're going to do, the specs and everything. I think we'll find all that out in the Tokyo Game Show, what the specs are going to be. Which leads me to this. Next year at E3, Nintendo is going to rule again, because Nintendo is going to bring it, because the new system's going to come out. They're going to bring all the games that are coming out for the new system. So, if I were Microsoft, because Microsoft is the one company I can see bringing a new system out before Sony, I would almost think they're going to wait till the year after next year to show their new system at E3. And I'm actually a fan of all 3 systems being released at different times, and that way, you know, there's a far enough heart I can actually buy them maybe. But it'll be interesting to see what Nintendo's final specs. I was worried how Nintendo was going to come up with just a HD Wii like the current one. Instead, they put innovation in, and it really excited me. Now, some people may or may not be if you're not into that stuff. Again. So, that's what I mean. I thought E3, well, Nintendo at least has, you know, Reggie in that he could speak. You know, it was cool they did the 25th anniversary Zelda, though I kind of thought they were going to do some special, you know, game like they did for Mario, but that's fine. They didn't have to, that's fine, because the collectors would go nuts, and, you know, we'd see videos on that, so that's fine. It's cool that Skyward Sword's going to come out this year. I'm actually going to buy it when it comes out, because I have not actually played a Zelda game, truthfully, since the Super Nintendo. I did not play Ocarina of Time, so I'm actually going to try one for the first time on the Wii. And unfortunately, I didn't get to show the new Kirby Wii game and stuff, which I must say, this is one thing about this E3. Well, each company only focused on a couple of little amount of games, and they showed gameplay of them. Did live gameplay of them, except for Nintendo. Nintendo didn't do live gameplay, which didn't bother me. G4 bothered me because it kept showing the guy playing the game when I only want to see the game itself. But I know now a lot of the games and stuff are getting leaked out, so that's probably going to be the more exciting part than actually what they showed. But overall, I thought Nintendo won, and I think that's partially because Nintendo just knows how to pull my heartstrings when it comes to their games and their systems. So anyway, let's get to a lot of the comments I had about. I talked about Legend Gamers, and they talked about in their podcast, and I went with it about how has it changed buying games now, eBay or garage sales or whatever. You buy them at the prices and stuff. I'll give you a quick story before I get into this, and I know this video is going to be really long, so. My wife has gone to a couple of garage sales, and that guy I talked about with my N64 when I did the pickup of that, who I thought was a seller, is definitely a seller. My wife has ran into him a couple times at garage sales. Like today, she went to a PS2/Xbox games in a garage sale. She had gotten there a little bit before they opened. He just was leaving when she got there, and he bought every game there. He didn't look at them, he just walked up and bought them all. And she says he's done this to a couple of garage sales now. So clearly this guy's a seller. So when I go garage sale tomorrow, the one I'm really excited about the most I'll go to first. One of the funny things is he only goes to the ones that show video games, because the truth is, if you go to a lot of garage sales that usually say toys, more likely they'll end up having some video games at most of them. I actually get more of my video games from the ones that don't say video game garage sales with just toys than I do the ones that actually say video games, which I actually have a pickup video to do. I could have done because I got 14 PS1 games last week. But anyway, so let's get to some of the comments from the last video. And the first one is by Big Daddy Darth, and he said, I went to my favorite second-hand shop, and for a boxed Genesis and 12 games, they wanted almost $80. Prices have jumped big time since before I went into the hospital back in February. I was about to shit myself. I picked up so much cheap stuff there. Then all of a sudden, they're asking retro store prices. I mean, it was on every video game related. Next up is Midnight 890. I went to this barely used store, and they had a boxed Legend of Zelda for the NES, the gold card. They said it is $10, while the boxed Super Mario Brothers was $5. They knew that the Zelda game is rare, so they jacked the price. Which is, what's funny? In the year and a half that I've been going to collect video games, whether it be garage sales, pawn shops, retro stores, I have yet to see a Legend of Zelda game for sale. They just don't have them. Except for the one I saw in my pawn shop that was painted gold. That's the only one I've ever seen. Crow111 said, I haven't purchased any game off eBay for a long time because of the prices. People are asking. I find myself purchasing more games from the stores like Disc Replay and other used video game stores in my area because sometimes the prices are lower and they are more trustworthy. Goodwill is a great place to get lucky at too. It would suck though if I didn't have any of these stores around because I barely make any game purchases online through eBay or Amazon these days. Which is funny because they opened another Disc Replay like 20 miles from me, and I can't go into either one of them. So if I go into those stores, I've been to both of them, I could blow everything I make on just those because they have so many different used games I don't have yet. Now next up is 3 comments by TheGreenMonkeyKing. His first one says, what has changed about buying games since the retro era? As a serious gamer and collector since 1989, I can say that the internet has made it harder to get crazy deals because folks who know nothing about games can look up the prices on eBay, but the internet has also made the world smaller so we can easily buy games that used to require an importer such as NCS. In 1996/97, I purchased 15 fairly rare US Neo Geo titles for $20 each from a local game shop. Nearly impossible today. Which I'm going to say this, in the places I go to shop for video games, you can easily find Nintendo, Super Nintendo, you can easily find, you know, Genesis and Sega Master System, and you could find PlayStation 1 and 2, some 3, Xbox 360, Xbox. It's harder to find Dreamcast. You never see a 3DO game. Have never seen a system, let alone a game. You know, Neo Geo, you won't find any of those out there in the wild. Those are harder to find than the mainstays back in there, you know. So, next, if I had a dime for every time a seller confessed they had no clue about the item they were selling, well, I would have a lot of dimes. Case in point, a woman was selling an Atari Lynx with one game, but was sold as is because she did not have an AC adapter. I asked her why not drop in some batteries, and she said she did not know it took batteries, and then followed with, where do the batteries go, and how do I open it? I provided her directions and got it tested. BTW, I won at a low price. But you know, when I go to garage sales, most of the time the people selling it aren't the ones who owned it, so they don't know anything about it. eBay got a lot of work to find what you want in the condition you want. There are reliable online sellers which stand behind what they sell, while others are complete jerks. Auctions often offer the best price at the highest risk. Buy it now offers high prices, but if a seller is reliable, it can be worth it. Quality sellers test and grade every game honestly, so the buyer knows what they are getting. See, on eBay, you never ever buy underneath a guy really who's under 100%. You can take a risk at 99.9, but I will never buy, because I know that person at 100% is reliable. That at 99.9, because sometimes the truth is you got to look at those negatives, because sometimes people are just being jerks with the negatives. Sometimes they negative the seller because they thought it should have got there in 2 days and it got there in 3 days. And there are sellers who simply are bad, and you really have to pay attention and look at the comments people leave about that seller. Sometimes the 99.9 or 99.8 is the other person's the problem, not them. So Maxim RD said, I have talked about this before. While I'm glad classic gaming is more accepted in mainstream, the downside is now every Joe Blow who has an old dusty ET cartridge thinks he has some valuable and rare item. Even Goodwill and thrift shops have majority raised their prices on old games and hardware because they jump on eBay and think their overly inflated prices are the going rate. Sadly though, many rich brainless people pay these inflated prices, which just adds to the problem. Now all that is true, and the truth is with pawn shops, and I'm going to say this with the one I go to, they don't go by, they start off when they sell something, if they never sold for eBay as a basis, but they go by how it sells. So if it sells really well at a certain price, they're going to go to that price. They're not going to always go with the eBay price. But if you get a seller who, especially garage sales or pawn shops, who go by the eBay price, then you're really in trouble, because those people never move down and they always have everything overpriced. Then again, the danger of eBay, of course, is everybody now can find out the price. And you don't know how many garage sales I go to. Literally, my wife went to a garage sale last week. I kid you not. They had PlayStation 2 sport games for $15 a piece. I will not pay more than I've only paid $2 for a sport game on the PlayStation 2. That's if I really had a memory or connection to it. I usually only play $1 for them if I buy them. So next up is Retro Roadshow. One of the main trends that I'm noticing while picking out is that I'm seeing a lot of more couples picking together and looking up items on their phone or Droid. Just from passing by these people, I heard things such as, how much can we get for this? We have to pay rent. Or, this is our last 50. Are you sure we can sell this? It says, but buy it now for 75, etc. People are getting desperate and turning towards lottery fantasies about eBay selling to solve their financial woes. Gotta be quick. You know what's funny is I never go shopping, based on what eBay price is. And I know people do this, but on eBay, being a seller on eBay is very cutthroat. Somebody will sell if you put something up for a lower price, somebody in a very short time will put a price lower than yours in the same condition. So on eBay, it's really hard to make a lot of money unless you find something really rare that a lot of people want, and that's obviously not easy to find. I mean, it's just not. You're not going to find that rare thing in the wild. It's just not very often. The people who you may ask somebody who has it in their attic because you say, hey, do you have any video games, would probably be when you find it. I mean, I'll tell you a quick story. My wife going around garage sailing last week, and she ran into a guy who just started a new retro game selling store here in town, and he does sell newer systems, and he was going out looking garage sales for a working 360 in great condition. And my wife and him were talking, because then my wife goes talks to everybody at garage sales. That's how she finds all this stuff. And he said he was looking for 360. And my wife said, good, because she said, well, give me the card, because one, I mean, we'll go look anyway in the store. But two, if I was in, she'll let me know, and if I was interested, I could sell him one, because I do have a couple of 360s around here. I actually have 4 360s in the house, to be honest with you. So if I wanted to sell one, I could. And it was funny that he was garage selling, though I might admit, if I owned a real business, I mean, the cheapest way to save money is to buy it at a garage sale, because, you know, when people go into your, this is the other problem with the store. If you own a retro store now, when people go in there, they look up on eBay and they think you need to pay them that price. And this is where the sellers also have a hard time. It's kind of like comic books. Remember back when the first Batman movie came out, when I was collecting comic books, and comic books went through the ceiling. I mean, just insane prices. Comic book sellers would buy it low, and they would sell it high, and they were making a buttload of money. But they were not selling you. They were selling it really, buying you, giving you really low money. It's so low, in fact, that the people wouldn't sell it to them because they wanted the high price. Well, that's what happened with video games, where the sellers are trying to buy it at a price where they can make money, because that's what the store needs to make money. But the person selling it thinks they should get full price, and the owner's still going to make money. That's the other problem we have. Anyway, next up is the Demo Monster. Oh no, J Furio, sorry. Names were close together. Anyway, there is a factor of collectors. There is also a factor that sellers are becoming more aware of the market's existence. This does not mean they react realistically to the fact that it exists. That they are aware it exists. First, just trying to dump the stuff. There are a lot of other markets where sellers have overly inflated ideals of how much things are worth. Vintage video games are not alone in this. And no, you're absolutely right on that. Demo Monster said, one thing I liked when Nintendo were producing the Wii was them saying that they simply didn't really care much about graphics, and they didn't feel it was that important to make a great game, which I completely agree with. Which was more important to make a great game, which I completely agree with. For me, graphics certainly do not make the game, so whether the new system is full HD, etc. or not, it doesn't worry me as long as they stick to the great content for the system. Also, thanks very much for mentioning this video, which is in there. I'm glad Nintendo went HD, but whether the specs are equal to the 360 or PS3 or not, actually for me, doesn't bother me. It's Nintendo is going to take a graphical leap from the Wii. It's going to be very noticeable in their games, which matters, which I think will be really cool. And what they can do with that to expand the gameplay interests me the most. Lev Pepe 38 said, it's definitely getting harder to buy retro games at a decent price. Everyone is getting wise to go to their collectability. I've seen insane prices at yard sales and flea markets. Some Goodwills are even sell the rare ones on eBay. It's a shame for us collectors. You know, one of the reasons is the news has talked about how these games are so expensive. And because they don't see the old games, like sometimes you can go in an antique store and find video games, but the average person doesn't see video games, any of the older ones where they buy games, so they think they're hard to find when they're really not. Winter's Rain 86 said, collecting for me has become easier with eBay, but it's just not the same as finding a game at a flea market or a pawn shop. Just not satisfying, which I do agree. And this one was just for fun. Adal 123 said, Nintendo needs to call their system Super Wii DS64, which of course they did, but eBay is great because you can actually, and Amazon and online in general, you can find those games you're looking for. If you're looking for one game, you can easily find it online. Buy it if you want to, if you need to complete your collection. instead of spending hours and hours searching through garage sales if you didn't want to. Though the hunt at garage sales is very fun when you find games that you didn't think you'd find there, or something you never thought you were looking for, and you blew you away that you found it and you wanted it. So today I have a short list of videos to check out, since I've probably talked my brains out at this point, and you're probably sick of hearing me. First one is Sinistermoon is back to making videos. His new video is Crazy Creatures for the NES, Sinistermoon's retro reviews. If you want to know why he left YouTube for a while and got out making videos and why he came back, check out Operation Kill Screen number 24. That's where him and Jumbo Junkie talk a little bit in the second half of the podcast about why he really didn't make videos, and you'd be surprised the reason why. Next up, TheLoadingScreenz, my Game Room Tour HD, because I love Game Room Tours, which, by the way, the other thing I did get done with all this time off, I've got all the controllers and that individually packed up in different boxes for each different system, and all that boxed up, that everything's not pulled out of there, though it is in the stage now where it's in my wife's court, because she's going to be doing the electrical while I'm working, to put that I can actually show you what I'm going to do with the actual game room, explain to you in a video soon what's actually going to happen in it, because it's not a very big space, but it's big enough where I need, and that's why I'll make my videos and be able to work on everything and have everything organized, well, at least in theory. So next up is RinryGameGame, Donkey Kong's 30-year birthday bash retro weekend review number 4. Really cool how she explains, the history of Donkey Kong, and it's really cool. Check that out. Next is Game Study 1, Phoenix Comicon 2011 recap. If you want to see some cool games, some cool action figures, and all the stuff that was at Comicon. And Chipsturs started a new video series, Video Discussions, and this one's with TheXTHExSTIGx, episode 1. If you want to hear them both talk about his channel and other cool stuff, check that out. ScottLewisGamingBlog Game Tag Friday number 3, open to all. What game has you interested in June? And in case you want to know my interesting game in June, it's the poster in the back. That was funny because I played Duke Nukem 3D, rented it. I never really got into it, but I'm interested in the Duke Nukem Forever, which I'll be getting next week. And it's a tag video, so you can watch that and participate in the tag. Next up is LMA 187, Copyright Situation WTF. You should really watch this video to explain the bad side of YouTube, how somebody takes a video they make, copyrights a video they make, and it has footage of a video game in it, and since they have that footage in the video game, they're trying to push that they own the copyright for it by copyrighting other videos. Really should check out LMA's video to explain, see who it was who did it to them, and it's just one of the dirty things of YouTube that goes around. Next, the 123 Kidman number 2, 100 subscriber Q&A special. Check that out, it's really, really cool. Next up is Shadewraithx, Mortal Kombat 9, Shadewraithx playing with Reptile versus Jane Bong 1985, playing Jade / Sub-Zero. And this is number 3rd one in the series, where it's called Baddie to Badass. And I'll explain what he says in this message about the series. Hello everyone, I started a series on YouTube called Baddie to Badass. Its purpose is to show my progress from being mediocre at fighters to hopefully becoming good. Any feedback on how I can improve my game will be appreciated. After all, improving my game is the whole idea of these videos. I intend to post every one of my matches for the time being. The next one is by TheGreenMonkeyKing. The next video, review Sega imports on the Fire Core Part 3 of 3. And his description of the message was, the 3rd part of the final episode of the series is published. Playing imports, in the final episode you will learn how you can play Sega imports without any converters. You'll also learn about the pros and cons. In episode 2 you will learn about how to get by on the cheap playing Sega imports with a Game Genie. In episode 1 he covered the best converters released in the 1990s for all the popular 16-bit consoles. Mods are great, but there are times gamers and collectors prefer to leave their mint consoles mod-free. Consoles such as CDX, XI, and Nomad are rarely modded for this reason. These videos will help you get into imports without altering your precious collector consoles. The next video is suggested by Travel Joe 2010, and it is BusyStreetBlog Nintendo Conference and Analogy. It's basically his analog. I can't say it. ANALOGY. Just can't pronounce it today. Where he uses ice cream to explain Nintendo. Next up is MP4podcast.com. Sigatrev, Mad Matt, Chipstream 99.56. This guy is insane on kind of like one of those Dance Dance Revolution things you do when you do the pad. How he gets a 99.56 and this is crazy over 2,000 combo he does and insane. You really check it out. It's really crazy to watch him do that with kind of a Final Fantasy Tactics mod on the screen. And the last one is by RinryGameGame, basically goodbye for now video, which I will put a link to, where as y'all know he got a new job, so he will, obviously be not on YouTube as much as he used to be. Now, here are some of the channels you may want to check out, and we were going to, for now on, get back to putting channels to check out in each video because, well, that's the reason why I started this. And if I talk too fast, I'm sorry. I've been on too much coffee today. So NM Stranger, he does collection, he did a GameStop Pro Card review, he does game reviews, opinions, video game blog, pickups, shoutouts, unboxing, and Q&A. Next up is Emojo1990, has 165 subs. He does gaming memory videos, competition videos, pickups, room tour. He does review, package, and gameplay. Next up is Guy859. He has 55 subs. He does gameplay, package. He has an Atari plug and play video. He's shown video game magazines videos, unboxing, and gaming memories. And then the Kluxul, the KEXUL. He's done so far collection, pickups, and tag responses. Next up is N3W-GAM3RRR, has 128 subs. He does gameplay, shoutouts, how-to, and montages. Next up is Seymour Mac Stuff. He does system reviews, collection. He's shown a Zelda watch video. He shows things like a 3DO case. Next up is PSN Gamer Girl. This channel has gameplay like Grand Theft Auto 4, Battlefield Bad Company 2, Call of Duty Black Ops. Those are some of the games that channel has done gameplay for. The Raging Gamer TV has 44 subs. Discussion, pickup, top 5, gameplay, glitch, review, 3DS gameplay, pickup. And then the real cool song he did is Doom Level 4 cover. It's he's playing a guitar. It's more of a metal version of the cover. Check it out. That one's really cool on his channel. And then Game Talk 96 has 10 subs. Does unboxing, thoughts on E3, reviews, and top 10. And then My Fave Video Game OS has 55 subs. He has current series he's doing is top 10 soundtracks ever, where obviously he plays the soundtracks. He does game soundtracks. For example, he does it from songs from games on his channel, from Super Mario Brothers to Diablo to newer games like Tekken 6 and Dead Space 2. He has all kinds of different songs he posts on his channel for all kinds of different video games. So that is all I have for you today. So next community video will be on Monday. So till that video.